Hey, this is Harold S. Reed Jr. and welcome to another episode of the Ice Talks, where we implement change every day. Hey, Harold S. Reed Jr. here, also known as hrjr, your motivational coach. And if you don't know what motive action means, motive plus action equals results, and results equals success. Well, this is the podcast I've been dreading. It is episode 13. But you know what? There are buildings that do not have a 13th floor listed in the elevator, or marked on, on the directory. When I was on the job as a police officer, we had squad cars that were marked 1 through whatever, but there was no car 13. But you know what? When I went about this, I need continuity. There's even a gap in my files because podcast episode 7 was a replay from when the Ice Talks was an original idea. But let me get going. This is the 13th episode, and we are going to make the best out of this episode. So, damn it, there it is. I want to talk to you about failure as an option. Failure is not an option. Failure is not an option. Failure is not an option. I cannot say this enough. If I just said this for the next 13 minutes, failure is not an option. But I'm going to give you more than that. See, a lot of times people wind up, and I said this in the previous episode, it's not, just to recap, it's not the people who talk to us that talk us out of our dreams. It's the person that talks inside of us who talks us out of our dreams and our goals 10 times out of 10. Now, one of the things that we have to do in order to get to where we want to go is we have to get out of our own way. We have to not accept failure as an option. But more importantly, we have to fully commit to succeeding at whatever it is we want to achieve. We cannot allow failure to get in our way. We cannot allow setbacks to get in our way. As a matter of fact, we need to anticipate setbacks. We need to welcome setbacks. We need to develop a mindset understanding that obstacles and setbacks are always going to be part of the course. See, people want things to come easy. They want them to come early. They want them to come fast. There's a saying I discovered a long time ago that people want things 3 ways. They want it fast, they want it good, and they want it cheap. The only problem is we can only have it 2 out of 3 ways. All right. If we get it good and fast, it won't be cheap. If we get it good and cheap, it won't come fast. And if we get it fast and cheap, it won't be any good. I think I got that right. Yeah. All right. And so what we have to understand is that the things that we want in life, if we want it good and fast and cheap, it's just not going to happen. We can't have all 3. All right. So understand that there are going to be setbacks. There are going to be issues along the way to achieving your goals, and you cannot accept failure as an option. If you accept failure, this is one reason why I tell people, I tell people not to use the word try. All right. Because when you use the word try, you're not fully committed to what it is that you're doing. Okay, I'll give it a try. Okay, you give it a try. You know what happens when you say, I'll give it a try? What happens is you leave the door open, just a crack, but that crack is just enough for failure to come into your room and tear up your whole situation. All right. If you want to succeed at something, you got to go cross the threshold, through the door, into the room, close the door behind you, and do whatever you got to do inside that room to succeed. Do whatever it is you got to do in order to succeed. You can't just try. There's an old saying that goes, nothing beats a failure but a try. Damn that all to hell. First of all, nothing beats a failure but success, period. Nothing beats a failure but a try. What happens if you try and you don't succeed? Now, if you try and you don't succeed, well, the reason why you didn't succeed was because you tried. You didn't commit. If I ask any parent who's worth their salt, do you try to be a good parent or are you committed to being a good parent? If it came down to who's going to eat dinner first, you or your kids, and only one of you could eat, best believe a good parent is going to say their kids are going to eat first because they're committed to being good parents. You can't try to get a good education. You can't try to get straight A's. You have to put in the work. You have to commit to it. I'm not trying to earn my black belt at the end of this month. I'm committed to it. I'm going to go into that room because the test is 3 days long. All right. I'm going to go in that room the same way I've been handling my training. I'm going to go in that room and whatever happens, happens until it's done. It ain't going to be forever. It's only going to be for as long as it's going to be until it's done. Is it going to be hard? Absolutely. Are there going to be hiccups and twists in the game? Already been there, already done past whatever I've had to pass, and I'm going to keep on going. Listen, we have to go into these things that we want to do in our lives with a swim or swim mentality. We cannot go into these things that we want to do in our lives with a sink or swim mentality. All right. Soon as you put sink in your mind, you fed yourself the opportunity to fail. As soon as you say, I'm going to try to do something, you fed yourself the opportunity. Now you can give everything you want to a particular situation. You could put your all into it. And guess what? Things still might not go your way. And that's all right. That's okay. Things might not go the way you want them to for whatever reason. Don't accept that as a loss, however. Do not accept that as a loss. As I tell my students all the time, and I tell my clients as well, we do not win or lose. You win or you learn, because you can always go back and review what it was that you did. What were your action steps? And we're going to talk about action steps real briefly in a second. I'm going to share with you a quote. I don't know who came up with the quote. It's unknown as far as credit goes. It's not an hrjr original, but it does involve action steps. All right. So we have to focus on what it was that we did wrong in order to learn what not to do the next time we go up to bat, in order to learn what to do properly. See, I always tell people, and I've said this in previous episodes, a couple previous episodes, I believe, that we don't build our character when we win. We enjoy the victory. We accept the success when we win, but we don't build our character with a victory. We build our character in the valley. Remember I said in the previous episode, if you guys are following me, life is full of peaks and valleys. Sometimes we're at the peak, we're on top, but the peak is very small, so the time spent up there can be very limited, right? And then we find ourselves working our way down into the valley. And down in the valley is where we build our character. Down in the valley where things are low, that's when we find out who we are as we strive to climb up out of the valley back to another peak. So we can't go into the things that we want to go through in life with a sink or swim mentality. We can't go through the things we want to go through in life with a win or lose mentality. We have to go into things that we want with a swim or swim mentality. Sink is not an option. We have to go into these things with a win or learn mentality. Losing is not an option. The only time you lose is when you quit and you give up. The only time you fail is when you quit and you give up. You cannot allow yourself to fail yourself. It's really just that simple. So, and even though I said it's that simple, you know what? Again, when people say easier said than done, they give themselves permission to quit. I don't know one person who says something was easier said than done and then did what had to be done afterwards. Why? Because when people say something's easier said than done, they never follow through on what it is that needs to be done. When you say it's easier said than done, you allow yourself to fail. You accept failure when you say it's easier said than done. Trust me. I challenge you, whoever's listening to this, to find one person who has said something, there was something they wanted to do and then said it was easier said than done and then went and did it anyway. Excluding me. You can't use me as a reference. Okay? You can't use me. All right? Because I've come across things that I've acknowledged is easier said than done, and then I do it anyway. But you can't use me. All right? Now, here's what I'm going to leave you with. Again, Credit is unknown. I don't know who came up with this, but I in my reading, I came across this post, this quote. All right. A dream written down becomes a goal. A goal written down and broken into achievable steps, action steps, becomes a plan. A plan that is taken into action becomes reality. Nowhere in that is there room for failure. Nowhere in that is there room for failure. All right? And this being the dun dun dun, where's my music? The 13th episode, we ain't accepting failure. For the Friday the 13th, the nothing the 13th. 13 is no longer a bad number. 13 is just another number. To hell with the superstition. We are going to rock out 13. We not scared of you. Period. 13 is supposed to represent horror, bad luck, things that are associated with failure. Failure is no longer an option. Failure does not exist for those of us who wake up every day. And if you wake up every day, no matter how hard you're going through, let me tell you something. The month of April was hard on me. The month of April was hard on me. I'm not going to get into how hard and why it was hard. Let me just tell you, I was going through some things this month. I was going through some hard things this month. And you know what? May is going to start off kind of shaky. But here's the thing. I'm surviving April. I've survived April. Unless I die within the next 12 hours, I will have survived all the hell that I've gone through during the month of April. And I anticipate the beginning of the month of May to be shaky. But I'm going to put forth the effort and put forth the work necessary to smooth out and even out and get to where I want to be and continue striving to where I want to go and what I want to do in this life, because failure is not an option. I'm not accepting it. It has no place in my life. It has no place in your life. Do not feed that animal. There's an old story, and I'm going to wrap up with this. There's another old story. It's ancient, I don't know how ancient it is, but it's a Native American proverb where a grandfather is talking to his grandson, and he tells his grandson that within inside of us, and you've probably heard this before, inside of us there are two wolves. One light, one dark, one good, one evil. Don't get me started on the light, dark, good, evil thing. Let's just say there are two wolves, good and evil. We won't even say the light, dark part. All right? But these wolves are always at war for our spirit, for our soul, for how we will conduct ourselves and carry ourselves into the world. These wolves are always at war. And the grandson asks his grandfather, Grandpa, which wolf wins the war? And the grandfather says to his grandson, the wolf that wins the war is the one you feed the most. So if you have we have negative energy inside of us. If we have positive energy inside of us, change that the word energy into wolf. We have a negative wolf inside of us. We have a positive wolf inside of us. And both of those wolves are at battle for our soul and how we conduct ourselves in the world. Do you feed the negative wolf or do you feed the positive wolf? Which wolf do you feed the most in your life? See, if you feed that negative wolf, then you invoke that negative energy and you get those negative results in your life. If you feed the positive wolf, you're going to get them positive results. You're going to get that positive energy in your life. That's what you want. Failure, there's no room for failure. Feed the positive energy in your life, in your spirit. Trust me, it works. It works. In the words of Jack Canfield, the success principles work. He has a book called Success Principles. The success principles work as long as you work them. Success leaves clues. Hey, this is Harold S. Reed Jr. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Ice Talks, where we implement change every day.